all these lines that people are like, they're clapping in the verse. So then when that happened in Triskells, I was like, yes, I've won music
the Neil
or
Young
something.
movement. The Neil Young moment.
But it's a song about religion. I guess the first line that came to me was, if God only knew that Jesus was a Jew. And I'm not sure if it makes sense or if it's...
Could you give us a couple of the other lines?
Yeah.
That you can remember?
We sing, come and join our cult. Muslims, Christians and Jews. Come and join our cult. You can marry who you choose. Come and join our cult. We don't care about your views. Come and join our cult. No, don't take off your shoes. So it's basically kind of a very tongue-in-cheek, but also kind of, I don't know, just railing against religious extremists and that kind of thing, and all the silly customs that go along with it, and the fact that they all hate each other as well, all the major religions. And that's it, yeah. And then the chorus was a bit of an issue because there was if God only knew that Jesus was a Jew, Mohammed was a suicide bomber. Referencing the fact that many suicide bombers are named Mohammed, and also the fact that they get kind of typecast, people, I guess Fox News and things like that kind of make people terrified of people with different skin colour from them, essentially. And then a friend of mine, a musician, suggested, why not change it to Mohammed ain't no suicide bomber? And I thought it was perhaps a nicer line, but so that's that, that's Join Us, basically.
I heard a heartwarming statistic. Bill O'Reilly from Fox, the average age of his audience is 68. So, apart from a few oldies, right-winger oldies in America, not too many people are being influenced by him. Yeah, anyway.
That's true.
Should we go back to origins? When did you start playing music? Where are you from, actually, and is there a music scene there?
I'm from Scotland, and there's a great tradition of good Scottish bands.
But whereabouts in Scotland?
The West Coast. Yeah, so we had
more specific.
Oh right, okay, more specific than that. Well, my family lives in a small seaside
I come
town
from
called
England, and I'm
Largs.
completely ignorant about Scotland, so
I see.
you can imagine what people from overseas.
Okay.
Go on,
just a small seaside town called Largs, which is famous for its ice cream and stuff like that, and various other random things. Vikings. We beat the Vikings in the
Vikings
Battle of
and ice
Largs.
cream.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they reenact the battle every year. They make a big Viking longboat and get dressed up as Vikings, and then they burn the thing.
They have one of those in Spain as well.
Oh right.
Yeah, to commemorate a Viking invasion. Yeah. What's the nearest big town or town?
Yeah,
that we would have heard
Glasgow.
of?
I mean,
Glasgow.
I'm being a bit silly and difficult by saying, but Glasgow. Yeah, that's where I went to university, and there's some great open mics there. Nice and Sleazy's is the main one. The Standard is incredible. And then, I didn't really do much music-wise in the UK. Just wrote a couple of songs and played at the open mics a bit, but nothing great. Then I moved to Prague to teach English. Had a lot of crazy experiences there, like life experiences. Really good times and bad times, and that just inspired some decent songs. I'm trying not to blow my own trumpet and say awesome songs, but
false modesty is quite annoying as well.
Right.
So
That's right. Well, anyway, I'll just tell it as it is.
okay.
And but even that, like 4 or 5 good songs in Prague, and then I went to Korea and then Vietnam, and kind of gave up music. I just got bored of it. I just found it really unrewarding, and I don't know. I had other outlets, for my stress or whatever.
Have you got other creative outlets? Or not?
Yeah, I paint a little, but I don't know. Writing blogs or whatever, or I guess it's good to have a creative outlet though, isn't it? So that was why it was such a turning point in my life when Mo forced me to get back into music. We kind of became friends in Madrid through work, and he was like, "Oh, you play the guitar? Come on, let's jam." I'm like, I'm not sure, and he was just constantly on my back saying, let's play an open mic, let's start a band, let's do this, let's do that. Let's write a song.
Is there any reason why the joins work well? Is it just a sort of chemistry?
Yeah, it's just
hard to say, really.
Yeah, it's just a good friendship, really. Christian and Mo and I really get along well, and it was never really about making any money. Obviously, it was never about popularity, or it was never even really about the music. To be honest, it was just about bonding and friendship.
What do you think's the secret of a good band, apart from having decent music?
Well, I'm the wrong person to ask. I've never really been in a band apart from the totally political Christian experience, which evolved into Waiting Forever, and then which I left and and formed the Giants.
No, I think we were saying earlier that in a band, I mean, there is this sort of chemistry thing, obviously, which is the same with people, but when you've got defined roles, it makes it a bit easier, because if you've got a bass player who wants to be a guitarist, it's a bit tricky, and if you've got people who don't sing who want to sing, and then they start getting their own sidelines and stuff, so yeah. Who are you influenced by? Do you want to give us a few bands? Quite a list there.
I've written down a little list here in preparation for this interview.
Oh, I'm glad you prepared, anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I remember listening to Electric Light Orchestra when I was like 10 or something. My parents had the vinyl records.
Okay, we'll probably edit that out.
Right.
But, no, I'm kidding.
No, like the harmonies are incredible, you know, and they were massively influenced by the Beatles. You know, they basically just ripped off the Beatles but with strings. But then after that, you know, Michael Jackson and stuff. But after that, I kind of forgot about music until I was like 15. I started to hear all the Britpop stuff. And I just loved it. I mean, I was well aware that they were ripping off the Beatles and various other 60s acts, but I didn't really care. I just, you know, it felt very relevant and almost like I was part of the movement, you know, just by listening to it.
How old are you, by the way? Just to have an idea of...
Yeah, I'm 34.
34, so you... First music was 80s or late 80s?
Nah, more like early up to mid-90s,
you know.
Kind of, I was a late bloomer with music, but then once I got into it, I kind of decided to pick up the guitar and, you know...
So, yeah. Oasis, you rate Oasis?
Yeah, I mean, that Oasis and Blur, they were alright. I think Blur stood the test of time better. Saw a documentary about them the other day called No Distance Left to Run. It was pretty...
I haven't seen that.
I recommend it. It's amazing. It's a really interesting story. And then there's better bands in the 90s as well, like Radiohead and stuff. But ultimately, all that stuff inevitably just led me to the Beatles, which is,
Well,
and everybody
you're
goes
talking
through a
to the
Beatles.
right person.
Yeah,
there.
everybody goes through a Beatles phase, and some
I've been
people
going
never
through
go out
it.
of
I've been
it.
going for 25 years.
Yeah.
25 years of solid devotion.
Yeah, I go through phases, you know, and then I stop listening to them for a while, and then I realise why they are rated as the best band ever.
Well, I was talking to, I think it was Porrig. Porrig gets a mention on every interview. Hello.
All right.
We were talking about, I don't know if it was on mic or off mic, but we were saying that thing about people who don't like the Beatles. I totally understand, you know, like punks probably may not like them, heavy metalers may not like them, you know, and some of their stuff is a bit pastiche, you know, I like nearly all of it, but there's a few that...
Well, some people just don't like music, really. There are,
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe 10% of the population, maybe less. I've met people who just don't really give a fuck about music. They just kind of, you know, if it's on the radio, they'll tolerate it, but they never choose to listen to music.
Let's say like among people who do listen to music, I'd say other than a few select groups, I can't see how you wouldn't like at least some of their songs. Because
Yeah.
if you hear them, the acid test for a song for me, well, Ray Davies of the Kinks, he said the acid test is, will it sound good on an out-of-tune piano? And he played Waterloo Sunset on an out-of-tune piano and it sounded great.
Yeah. It's a
And you know what I
great
mean? And there's an album called Bossa Stones, which is all the best Stone songs done with a bossa nova, and it sounds great. And I think that's the acid test. Can it be in different styles? And Beatles music, if you just play it on solo piano, I'm sorry, but a certain amount of it, it's almost scientifically impossible not to like it, because it actually been scientifically proved that certain combinations of notes and chords actually, what's the word? Produce pleasure chemicals.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense to me.
So anyway,
yeah, I think the Beatles for me were best in like 64 or 65 with, like, you know, I don't know, Help and then Rubber Soul. Yeah, that was their peak for me. And Revolver.
I think it was the peak of the first phase, because Rubber Soul is experimental, but it's not. You could, in theory, play the songs live.
That's right, yeah, they're kind of poppy as well as being experimental.
And they were still not really over 3 minutes.
And I love the later stuff, but I love the energy of the early and then the peak, in my opinion, with the... I mean, Revolver, there's not really a bad song on it, is there? Whereas the later stuff, I wasn't really that into.
I never thought Yellow Submarine fit
Submarine.
on Revolver, but I think now if you play it to... It's kind of a... What's the word? It's sort of a cool. It's a very hip album still, but then you have Yellow Submarine.
No, yes.
I was really hoping the Thoretta Man would get him on the tape.
I almost waved him over with my eye, if you can do that, and then I waved him away with my hand.
Yeah, little bit of eye contact
Yeah.
there. What about Beatles songwriter? Which Beatles songwriter do you like best? Have you got a favourite?
Yeah, George Harrison's pretty good. I like his solo stuff.